is correct orientation, and put it there. And we'll check it from there, and I will apologize as always. We got to do the sound check too. How is the view? People are waiting. It's not going live. Or is it delayed? Oh, okay. I'm backwards. Hello, everyone. It's going to be fixed. Let's see. We can get this fixed. Apologies in advance. We are both very amateur on this. But meanwhile, we can do our sound check. Is there anywhere there we can fix the orientation on? Okay, let me check. Okay. Okay. Where does it give us the orientation? No, no green screen. No, no green screen. Oh, no. Okay. How about now? Can you look at it now? See how it works? We need to get the green screen out. So we're still not working good. I apologize. We tested this before and it worked just fine. Okay, let's see. There you go. Okay. Yeah, but how about if we do it this way and then we do it this way? How about if we do it this way? No. Okay. All right, that's not the way. Let's see. Well, it works this way. If I use this camera, it says orientation is lock. Rotate twice back. So that's what we needed to do. Rotate device back. Okay, and that doesn't work. This doesn't work. Do we go this way? Or do I use the front camera? I apologize, people. No, no green screen. I'm green. No green screen. Okay. Can you find out how we can do it? Again, thank you for being patient. Two amateurs here trying very hard. What is this? It's uploaded. Hmm? Oh. How about if I use the front camera? We can do that? It's locked. How do you see if we can unlock the okay, so how do we do this? Okay. All right, this is not good. We can do it this way, but then the stuff is here for the, how are we going to put it up there? Okay, can you put it up there? Okay, good, 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 good. Wow. Wow, this is weird, people. How is can you see it from there? Is it good? All right, how is the sound? Jeffrey, hi. Okay. Oh my goodness. This is unexpected. I'm sorry. I counted on my girl, but we have to practice more. We have to practice more. All right. So how is the sound? How is the sound? How's the sound? She's saying thumbs up. So the sound is good. Robert is here. Jeffrey is here. Welcome. Hey, Sue. Sue is here. Warren is here. Oh, okay. My Patreon community is rocking here this evening. All right, Debbie. Hello. Okay. And Jeffrey, okay. All right. The only thing, people, I did wrong here during the setup for the live, I was supposed to put the orientation, which I missed and I didn't. And now, in order to do that, they are saying I have to do a new live, and I don't want to do that. That is so tedious. But the sound quality, you're okay. Both ways are fine. Oh my goodness, I love it. I have such a supportive community. Okay. All right. Here is one of the practices I was I was telling myself, we do these lives through my Patreon community, our Patreon community every Sunday, right? And it's our intimate, critical thinking, independent community. And I find myself always looking forward to it because we have fun. We really have fun. We have some intense discussions, but in the middle of our discussions, we get to laugh with each other too. And the last time we had a really great session. It went on for almost 2 hours. This is my Patreon site. That's where I do stuff 99% of the time. And one of the decisions that we made as a community was, once in a while we come here on YouTube and say, come on, people, join us over there. And I know the forum we are on now, the owners, the Devil's Playground and all that, they don't like hearing this. So probably it's going to be even more shadow banned, but who cares? Because that's the community. We have several hundred people, and I have the link somewhere out there on the about section of this YouTube. We have that. And I am inviting all of you who enjoy these types of discussions. And it's been getting hotter and better, warmer and warmer, to a point of hot almost. So they can tell you here, I have so many people from our community here. Robert is here as well. So, okay, Ron, hello. That's Ron Kism. We have several Ron. Okay, we'll see if we get our other Ron here as well. All right, I have several things here that I want to go over during this live session. But what I was saying was, in order to get myself more relaxed, about the background, we got that out of the way, thank God. Is whatchamacallit. I keep telling myself, just pretend it's your regular Sunday live with your community through Patreon, and just forget about the fact that it's YouTube, and then we have people that we don't know here, etc., and you'll be fine. And let's see if it works. Okay, let's see if it works. But it's casual, and we are going to go through some pointers. We're gonna, to warm up, talk a few minutes about, for a few minutes, we talk about the deep state, because this whole notion of deep state is it's becoming more popular, but it's being used willy-nilly. Still is such an abstract, subjective for many, many people. And one of the things that I recognize out there that has been happening is that with deep state, it's like, well, who's the deep state? And there is this assumption that it's always the same deep state, at least the members, the makeup of the deep state, and which is anybody with critical thinking should think, times change, circumstances change, different types of situations, different types of era, right? Well, the makeup of deep state accordingly changes as well. If we think back 30, 40 years ago, we are looking at traditional warfare, military bases, and the main players of deep state being the big oil companies, and you have the mega financial institution that we had, and of course the military industrial complex. But what has happened, people? What has happened in the past 20, 25 years? Welcome the era of technocrats, right? And so if you think of the deep state as this, a long conference table, so we can at least have something that we can visualize, we can bring it in front of our eyes and say, let's think about it that way. We have at the table, some of them are there, the mega. oil players, energy industry, deep state players like the top tier, and financial institutions. They are still there. But then we have these trillionaires, basically, and the newcomers, think Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and Bill Gates and etc. And so with that comes all these questions of, are they always in agreement when we're talking about the deep state? Are they always in agreement, right? Or is there a hierarchy even within the deep state, the ultimate club that we talk about? you know is there is and if so, who has who is currently, which tier has the highest hierarchy? You have to think of it that way. And if we start looking at the technocrats, whether it's Elon Musk or the combination of them, and there is no rule that says all of them will be on the same page and have the same agenda. So you have variables among the agendas as well. And with that comes, I think about NSA, right? NSA, it was used to be the ultimate, technology of control, right? Information is power. And now you look at the just Elon Musk alone, and with his almost $1 trillion, and with his ability, both financial capability but technological capability, where would, let's say, the NSA fall in the new era, in this current era that we have? And with that, the implication. So this is like an example of types of things we talk about when we are with our community for our Sunday lives or some of the posts. And we also link these to our Operation Gladio, because again, Operation Gladio was not a one-time deal. Operation Gladio is ongoing, and just like this whole deep state notion, it changes, it adapts, and it's always ahead of us. It has to be, in terms of planning, like a chessboard. But that's for that. And again, it's like food for thought. It's a warm up, right? And I just want you to chew on that and let you know the kinds of things we do over there at Patreon. And with that, the last still part of the warm up, because we're going to be talking about some of the new things, current stuff, such as Marjorie Taylor Greene. She resigned, so we're going to touch upon that and a little bit talk about that. And but for some sort of a introductory warm up, how long do we need for introduction? It's a warm up. You don't just jump, because I don't have some teleprompter here and some talking points that I have rehearsed that I'm going to put out there. That kind of defeats the purpose of having a live. Live has to be spontaneous. Live has to be alive, right? And alive is all of us here. And with that, I have to check the thank you, Sue. I mean, truly, this community, first of all, I don't see it anywhere else, at least in the popular social media or forums or groups out there. Our community on Patreon, we don't have the partisan issues whatsoever. It's like none. And we also have this nonconformist, critical thinking, independent thinking, hundreds of them, and it feels so good, because without it, it is so easy for us to feel alone and say, is something really wrong with me? The whole thing is, or is the whole world that is insane? And also that lonely feel that comes with it, that sinks in, and considering yourself like, I'm weird. Where am I fitting in this new reality created, which is not reality? It's smoke, lots of fake, tons of fake, a lot of fake, and that's another thing we're going to talk about today. We don't have that. And it's again interesting. I'm looking at the stats of both in terms of the membership for Patreon, but also, let's say, when I post here on YouTube or we have live, our demographics, are you ready, people? Our demographic goes like, um, group it says, I don't know, 18 to 29, 30, 0%. Then it goes from 30 to 45, 0%. So then it goes to age, I don't know, it's something like 49 or 50. And this is because it changes from a forum to another to, let's say, 60. And it says something like 30%. And it goes from 60 to, let's say, 70. That's where we have the largest group. I would say easily about 65, 70% of the both community members and also our videos, people who are tuning in, my community members, it falls into that group, right? I wouldn't call it drastic, but it says something, right? Of course, any audience would want to relate to their host or the speaker. So for that, it's natural to expect that, oh, you fall within the same age category, and that's to be expected, but not to this level because as I said, this tells us something, it says something, and that is both in terms of the level of indoctrination increasing tremendously in the past 30 years, 25, 30 years especially. We've always had indoctrination, right? But there is a degree, right? There are degrees of certain things. And in this particular case, um, these are people, right? Our people are pre-intense high-speed indoctrination people, right? And so that's one qualification and quality I would say is prevalent within our community. The second one I would say is the civil manner, civilized dialogue, having dialogue. And I don't want to jinx it. And again, we have reached this level of 400 or whatever people for our members communities, but we haven't had any incidents of people being nasty or hate filled or intolerant and attacking each other. That I guess is another quality that comes with the demographics of our community, right? And I am so grateful for that because I would not be able to stand the idea of having, ugh, is that good enough? That's my reaction when I see the tone, the lingo, the hate feel, the anger, the animosity, the doggedness, the ideologues going at each other, nasty words pouring out, right? Ugh. Okay. With that said, it's my hope that steadily we expand this community, right? At Patreon, it's almost like a website. I have regular posts, I have updates, I have regular weekly podcasts, and of course, we have Sunday lives like this, but actually, maybe even better because I am not as self conscious. Let me put it that way. I am self conscious, more self conscious. A is being on the video here like this, and B, not knowing exactly everyone. I think right now, majority of the people here are from our Patreon community. Smoke and mirrors, right? Smoke, smoke, lots of smoke. And it's so much fake out there, so much. And it doesn't matter. The left fake, the pseudo left fake, the pseudo right fake, fakery that is just, most of them is just so obvious. And at least for some of us, that includes me, the fakery, right, the fakeness is immediate. It doesn't take long to kind of get it right in your gut feeling. You have that sense saying, man, this sounds so fake. And it's not only what is said, the tone, right? How it is said, that's very important. But also, I am so fixated with people's facial expressions, people's, gestures, right? Um, to sense, to evaluate sincerity, right? Because sincerity matters. Sincerity matters. Well, very little of that in one of our this is a good segue because in one of our previous discussions I talked about this. I saw the light, I saw the light. You have all these new minions, right? technocrats, algorithm supported minions popping, right? And it's so difficult. Like, who is working for who is fake, who is real, who is genuine, who is not, right? Who is being really backed and controlled and managed. And I threw a bunch of examples. I was not in the mood to put out the name. We call things such as lumberjack. Actually, lumberjack is kind of, it's like, usually is illustrated as this hefty, substantial kind of a guy. Our lumberjack is not. It's like a very weaselly, ratty, squirrely kind of a guy. Anyhow, well, those of you who know. And so now, today, we're going to talk about Candace Owen and what I have done and how I set my evaluation, because it's not going and watching a couple of things, listening to a couple of things, reading some people's take, and then say something like, oh yeah, it's fake. No, no, no. I have methodology both as an analyst, but also one of my degree was psychology. Psychology has a lot to do with it, what to pay attention. Add to that 25 years of being a researcher, meaning digging on the background, digging from like the time they were maybe a little piece of sperm and a little piece of egg coming together. I really go back. And I do that with everyone. I do that with my cases on Operation Gladio, on some of the neocons that I have exposed, and I have done investigative reports. So all those things I go through, and it takes a while. And I don't only tune into one or two or three episodes of something. I go try to find things that are lies, they are deceitful, that they're things that are changing with the direction of the wind shifts, the message changes. I have criteria, and as you know, because of my PTSD, I spend all my time, 99.9% of my time, in a very protective indoor environment. And this has been my path for the past 4 or 5 months since I started coming back. So that gives you a little bit of background so we can delve into it. So what I want to do, okay, we're going to talk about Candace Owen and my verdict after more than a month of putting close to 80, 100 hours, and I have. And people are going to say, well, why? Why would you do that? These people shouldn't matter, or blah, 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 all the stuff. Well, they matter. That would be a very, I would say, a not very critical thinking or well evaluating thing to come and say they don't matter. When you look at individuals' personalities who have, let's say with the legit numbers, okay, because we talked about the algorithm, 5 million, 3 million followers, they matter, right? And again, we talked about that. You're talking about those people who are subscribing to some of these mega churches that are crooked. Again, I'm not saying all mega churches are crooked, but just being a mega and showy, to me, in my humble opinion, is real deviation from real Christianity, because Christianity is supposed to be about humility, right? About being humble, right? About being modest, right? And you look at these mother effers out there, they are like snake oil salesmen. They are charlatanish. The polished shoes and the Rolex watch and all the screens, they are entertainers. They are today's David Copperfield. So I'm not saying this stuff you're talking about only applies to people, the political talking heads and everything. Back to Candace Owen. Okay, I have my notes here, so I won't miss anything. No, I'm not going to read because they are not in sentences. They are, because there's another point afterwards I want to go through, which is important, right? So, all right, are we ready, people? I put out a poll out there, and last time I checked, I said, okay, what do you think is going to happen? The verdict that I'm going to have at the end saying, in my opinion, plus based on my research, based on my analysis, based on my evaluation, both in terms of scientific evaluation, like really scientific evaluation, and also the gut feeling and the impressions, with all of that, my experience, what the verdict is going to be, okay? And so with that, the poll that I put on X, it was again, I think something like 38% of the people last time I checked said I'm gonna say fake, and about 45% said that I was gonna say yeah, she's real, and then another maybe 15% said I'm gonna say to be determined or undetermined. And I always put that too, right? It's sometimes you can put all those things, and even with everything at that moment you have collected, you may have doubt, and that is again sincerity, people. That's honesty. You can't come and stamp people willy-nilly, and it is good. It is okay. It is more than acceptable and okay to come out and say, oh, you know what? In this particular case, I really can't tell. I'm conflicted. It's almost 50-50. There are some things that are stinky, questionable. There are some things that are smelling foul. And then there are some stuff that is actually genuine good. So therefore, I won't go and say, oh yeah, definitively this person is this. This is not the way I operate. It's not that this is an operation. This is not the way I do things. And that's for that too. So I don't know what the latest poll is. Let's take a pause here. Mr. Glass, Eamon Debbie, a real eye opener. Okay, I don't know. I have missed all that question. Kareem, I don't know. Are we talking about me? If it is, thank you very much. If it's not, if it's a conversation between you, just ignore me. Really, framing in the Sunday sessions really allows people to make sense of all the craziness. Yes, Robert, I completely agree with that. Okay. Okay. So again, let's start. So what did I do? I'm going to put all this criteria that I went through, and I have a box somewhere here, all my research, all my notes, people, okay? These are not like, oh yeah, I kind of was talking on the phone and checking out Candace Owens or listening here and there. It's not. This is like going to a college and taking a 6 credit, 2 courses. That's how I broke it into pieces. And here it is. I watched 23 videos that she produces, she puts out there. Sometimes during the week is on daily basis. Okay, so I watched those. I watched some historical stuff like pre 2020. I put here 2019, including her Candace Owens congressional testimony in 2019. I believe that was in September 2019. And she was in Congress and it was televised and she testified. And behind her was her grandfather who was sitting there. I watched it actually twice and I took notes, and also what she said afterwards and before that testimony. I'm talking about going back. And I looked for consistency. I looked for factuality. I looked for evidence and proof. Okay. The other thing I did, I looked at background, what I just told you. That means background, everything that I could find, since birth, childhood, the family, the both socioeconomic situation, where they lived, how she was, where she went to school, her grandfather, her mother. I don't have much on her father. Did all that and dug and went deep on that. And also, another important thing I want to talk about is I checked her algorithm, right? I call it Sibel's algorithm test, and I'm going to explain that to you at the end because that is extremely important. And I believe there are ways to actually definitively find out who's fake, and with algorithm being fake, right, created to give the illusion of this, oh, this person has a lot of following, versus with algorithm that is genuine, it's real, it's organic, right? This person truly has 5 million followers. And there are ways for us to do that. And I'm going to talk about that. And I applied that to Candace Owen as well. And I'm going to explain that to you as well. Okay. So are we ready? Are we ready? Um, you watched too, Debbie, Candace's congressional testimony? Yes, several times. Exactly. We all should have opinion. Oh, I'm so glad, Debbie, you brought this up because this is another important thing too. In this particular evaluation, I am with any of these people, okay? Because I have done it for 6 people, right? I am not going to hold anybody's genuine own opinion against them as I would expect no one to hold what opinion, my way of thinking, my spirituality, my faith, any of those stuff. I leave those stuff alone. You know why? That's actually being a in respectful but also independent American spirit, meaning people are entitled to have their opinions. People have the freedom of speech. People have the right to share it and to share it with public. Nobody should come and put somebody else down saying, you are advocating for this, or you have this kind of an opinion. In my opinion, that's backwarded. Or I am, let's say, an atheist and you are a religious zealot. Those things are totally outside what I do. I can't stomach that kind of attack. I can't. It's nobody's business. We are who we are, right, people? We think for what we think, and that is the freedom we have. Nobody has the right to ask us to limit our speech, to limit the way we see the world, our angle, our view angle. Those things is nobody's business. And if anybody is criticizing anybody based on that, I'm talking about genuine belief. At that moment, give them the finger and say, I don't want to have anything to do with you because that's bullshit. Okay. We don't do that here. So again, and the other thing is, I have never had any interaction with Candace Owens. That's my disclaimer. I have never had any dealings with Candace Owens, right? I have never met her. She and I don't tread anywhere. She doesn't even know I exist. If you were to go and ask her, do you know Sibel Edmonds? She wouldn't know because she's much younger. She could be my daughter. She's 36, right? So even with that, she has all the right not to know me. She is famous. I'm not. So let's put that one and clear the air on Candace Owen. Okay, starting with that congressional testimony that she had, and this is Candace Owen with her grandfather sitting right behind her, and this was televised. This is 2019. This was pre being very famous, this was during her prelude to fame. I watched that twice, okay? The testimony she gave, the responses she gave, none of them in any way came across as rehearsed. So let's talk about that 2019. Also, the grandfather, which I looked into a little bit, this man, I mean, there was so much humility there, and you could just tell, somebody who has that grounded wisdom, but also has that modesty and humility. And the other thing is, I didn't see anything in terms of an act being put on for the camera purposes because the cameras were there. You can tell people. I can't tell. I'm not a genius. You all can tell. Sometimes in these congressional testimonies or speeches, people want to be the ham for the camera, right? To look a certain way, to do something. There was none of that, right? There was none of that with the grandfather. And the reason he was brought in there was there was nothing nefarious there. Okay, so that's for that. Can we go ahead and put that in that column on that list? Then, as far as the background and childhood and family is concerned, with Candace Owen, I did digging. And those of you who've known me, I had my own media organization. I have done a lot of investigative reports. As far as her upbringing, family, parents, grandparents, the school she went, I went through them. I put my magnifier and went through that. I I couldn't find any dirt there. Zero. In fact, I couldn't find a speck of dust. It was your real, right? Hardworking, decent human beings going about their lives and working true life to make it, and humble beginning and all that. So there is nothing there, and nothing that in any way can be construed as I don't know, like dirt, some questionable father, unlike some other people I have on the list, and a questionable mother, and a questionable businesses of parents. None of that. I didn't find any of those stuff. Okay, next. Okay. Then I also, talk about some of the stuff, and that is the videos, right? Since her fame, right? Let's talk about the videos and the things that I observe, but I also check to see if these elements are consistently present, whether they are bad elements or they are good elements, if they are positive or negative. I went through them. I went through them like an OCD that I am. I am like that. I have OCD, but it has to go deep. I can't miss a single detail, and I I tell you, I have seen a lot of things about like this woman, her mental health should be questions, etc., etc. And the fact that she's coming with some, and it's sad that with these wild claims and allegations in her amateur investigations and all that, right? I went through these, especially the ones that have caused uproar, and it's very interesting because Candace Owens, there's something she does that I actually always tell people, anybody, whether they are journalists or they are citizen journalists, to do. In almost every single video, especially on her investigative work, she always emphasizes, which I call, in this is my word for it, I call it disclaimer, right? For example, she says, like, this is a good example on this autopsy reports that there was out there on Charlie Kirk, right? And this session is not about Charlie Kirk, but what I'm saying, I'm giving you an example. She says, Candace Owens says, look, there is this and there is this, and there are a couple of questionable things. For example, this one was a military doctor, and there are certain things in the autopsy that raises eyebrow, right? And there are certain things that is not complete, right? And then the woman emphasized it several times. She's saying, I'm not saying there is something here, that they are fudging it. All I'm telling you is worth examining, and there are certain things that don't add up. We need to look into further. Okay? Now, then I go and see how, and it's not mainstream media, it's how some of her competitors or people on other side, they're like, she went there and now she claims, no. If you go and watch Owens' video and really listen, pay attention, it's there in every single video where there is doubt, where she doesn't have 100% proof. She puts out that what I call disclaimer, and she emphasized the fact that this is not a slam dunk case. She says, I'm not saying this is the case. I'm telling you, these raises questions. Do you agree with me, the audience? Do you agree with me, with the people? And anybody who has information about this that can complete this picture, please send it to me, right? That's not going and putting wild claims out there, okay? The other important things, and again, that is missed by so many people when they are evaluating or criticizing Candace Owen, is what she's doing, okay? They're like, look at this crazy woman, right? She is putting all this wild stuff, and she's saying this is suspicious. According to her, everything is suspicious. Well, people, I worked with the FBI. We worked on criminal terrorism related investigations. I have a degree in criminal justice. I did my internship with Professor Dr. Frederick Whitehurst, the director of all FBI labs, on re-examining the Oklahoma City bombing, because that was one of his main cases. Okay, I have criminal psychology degree. And again, I was an investigative journalist. Okay, I'm not here blowing my horn. I'm trying to put out there saying, per my experience, plus I'm 56 years old, people, I'm old, all right, I'm not new in this arena. What she's doing is what any investigation should be doing, and they do, right? For example, every investigation starts with a list of suspects, okay? Even some of the suspects that may appear far-fetched, not very suspicious. You know why? Because that is the main first step of investigation. Put all these suspects together, right? And then go through them one by one, examine the heck out of them, and then go through the process of elimination, right? The process of elimination, saying, oh, this one we can eliminate because during this particular time, this person was there. There is no phone conversation or anything. What I'm trying to say, that's what an investigation is. That's exactly what we did, our group, the real group on 9/11 Truth Movement, right? 9/11 activists. These are FBI whistleblowers, whistleblowers from the military, DOD. These are DOJ whistleblowers, right? So what we did was exactly that because the mainstream media was not doing these investigations, right? Were they? Nah. The government, well, the government job is cover up. First of all, in many of these cases, the government happens to be the culprit that is involved, right? So, and they are the ones who are fudging the investigations. These are the ones, government is the one that is classifying the truth, right? Gagging the whistleblower. Cover up is government's job, even though, I mean, the real job, what they are doing when they are the ones who should be investigating it, right? So what did we do with 9/11? We were examining every lead, every angle, whether it was with Saudi Arabia, whether it was with Afghanistan, whether it was with PNAC and the members of PNAC. Well, that is exactly what this woman is doing. Because nobody else is doing it, people. Nobody else is doing it, right? Charlie Kirk assassination, that's one good example. Charlie Kirk's assassination. We don't have the facts. There's so much that is unknown, and I can bet on anything that this guy's Robinson trial is not going to bring anything to light. Probably he's going to commit suicide in the jail, or maybe he's drugged to death. We don't know, but I don't suspect the trial of this guy, the supposed assassin, is going to bring it to light. Okay, so government is not doing anything. Kash Patel, you know the look. Any of you who are coming here, there you go. No, no. Also, if, for example, you have to keep in mind that there are inferior cells or individuals or operatives from within the government, maybe, I'm not saying it is, she's not saying it is, may be present, right? So there is that too. And in this particular case, and this is a fact, there is a foreign or several maybe foreign interests involved because there were things that happened with Charlie Kirk and Israel, the fallout, the so-called fallout and everything, that if that does not bring that element into the investigation, then there is no investigation. Well, nobody's doing it. Nobody is doing that. So this woman who happened to be friends with the guy who got assassinated, seeing that nobody is doing it and saying, look, I have a platform. I have a reach of whatever, 7 million, 8 million people, and maybe some contacts inside. And I'm going to also use my resources, which she has, she has good enough funding, through her marriage, through her work, through her book, whatever it is, she has. And she's investigating it. Why do you think anybody has problem with that? I mean, that's the part I don't understand. If somebody has problem with that, would be probably because that somebody or those whatever organizations, maybe because they are the part of the culprit involved, people. Because why is there so much scream about this woman doing what any investigation, what FBI should be doing, what the police department should be doing, what real media, journalism, investigative journalists are supposed to be doing. Well, fuck, we don't have that in this country. Where is the real journalism? Tell me, when was the last time you saw real investigative journalism? Real, right? Objective, independent investigative journalism. I haven't come across one. I have seen some people, not major people, main people, doing some great investigative analysis reports. One was by Max Perry on Chechnya, and I clapped and I'm like, it's so rare. Hallelujah. I congratulate you. But it is in shortage. There is a drought. There is a drought of real journalism. Our government is a mafia. I'm not exaggerating. I believe 100%. Sibel Edmonds, who went through this government's course all the way up to the Supreme Court, who went through this government's FBI and the Justice Department, okay? Who went through an entire Congress. I worked with this Congress or tried for 8 years, right? I passed legislation. Oh, it's bullshit because it has all sorts of fine prints in the bottom that makes everything right. It's nothing, okay? But I passed it on the record for whistleblowers protection. Has it been protecting any whistleblowers? Hell no, because you can pass a legislation. Who's going to implement those stuff, right? The mafia, the criminals, right? The criminals, the government. We have our government is the world's largest, biggest criminal entity. Whether you're talking about heroin, right? Whether you're talking about arms dealing, including nuclear, whether you're talking about false flag and real terrorism inducing, when you're talking about torture, when you're talking about wars based on lies, invading countries, wars of aggressions, torture, waterboarding, we, the Americans, are represented by this mafia, criminal, deep state operated criminal machine. Okay, and so there's, with that, anybody who disagrees with me, I respect your opinion. Anybody who thinks like, she's fucking my patriotism, she is destroying my emotions, my patriotic love of the country. That's what love of the country is. If that's what it is to you, then those people just get out. This is not my career. This is not my job. For anybody who cares to listen or they want to listen, they are more than welcome to come here and listen. Anybody who thinks I'm there and I'm destroying their patriotic feelings because they want to believe that we have a government of the people, for the people, by the people, right? That we should have it, right? That's exactly what we deserve to have, what we should have, but we have the opposite of that. So anybody who wants to go ahead and scratch my name off of their list, please go ahead and do that. Our government in its entirety is terrorist, it's criminal, it is corrupt, and it's nothing but lying piece of crap. Pedophile too. Let's add that. They are the pedophilia protecting, right? And they're actually made up of pedophiles, whether it's in the courts or it's in Congress. That's the reality. I don't like it, right? Because of that, I'm saying it. Because of that, I spent, the record is out there, 25 years fighting it. Enough about me, okay? Let's calm down. Let's drink my magnesium drink. Let's go back to Candace Owens. So the woman is investigating it. And she's doing what she's supposed to be doing. Put everything there, even if it's slightly suspicious. And then go through the process of elimination. And in order to do that, you need to get tips. You need to go look at the particular videos 100 times. You have to get documents. There's a lot of work that goes into that. She doesn't go and say, I'm a seasoned veteran expert criminal investigator. She's not claiming that. She's saying nobody's doing it. People, let's do it together. That's what we said with 9/11. And actually, we accomplished a lot. The things that right now these people are putting out there with their fake effing documentary on 9/11, the lumberjack shit, right? Those are First of all, anything that is true is all our work for over 25 years. Some of you here in the comment section, you were there, part of the people who work to get all this information together, put the pieces together, right? And the whistleblowers testimonies. So I, I unless they are involved, unless they are part of that criminal entity, I don't see why they would attack someone for doing what any investigative body would do. And as I said, every single episode has a disclaimer on it. Every single one of them. I'm not saying, well, most of the time she is putting disclaimer and saying, look, I'm not sure. Look, I'm not saying that, but it is highly suspicious, right? Who would have problem with that? Okay. The other important thing, oh yeah, Candace Owen, and let's talk about hypocrisy. Hypocrisy for me is a major criteria. Part of it is genetic because my father was a fighter. He was a doctor, he was a surgeon, he was a whistleblower, he was an activist, he was an anti-war activist. He hated hypocrisy. Oh my God, hypocrisy in religion, not religion itself. The motherfuckers were distorting it, the fake ones, those, right? And the idiots were following it, like extorting and twisting and exploiting. Though that's not religion. These are the people who are using religion to do the Satan's work. Okay, they are the Antichrist. Some of these preachers, they are the Antichrist. So hypocrisy for me is a major deal. Okay, I always look for hypocrisy because, as I said, genetically it's in me. I'm allergic. I am allergic when it comes to hypocrisy. I can't stand. When I was 5, I was allergic to hypocrisy. I hate hypocrites. I hate hypocrites, whether it's within my sphere of friends, like which I don't have any, very, very few, thank God, and they are not hypocrites, or anything, work, my belief system, my spiritual realm, anything. I can't stand hypocrisy. So, this woman, Candace Owen, one of the things actually that is positive for her that is she's being attacked on, they're saying she is basically calling everyone and everything guilty, criminal, or corrupt. Look at that. She's taking on everything. That is lunacy. That is lunacy. Let's think about that. Let's think about that for a second. Are you with me? Are you with me? Okay. I mean, when truly a lot of these institutions you look at, and you can't take them one by one, right? These institutions, NGOs, the government, the different branches of government, right? You start doing reports like based on facts, putting it out there, whether it's DEA, whether it's the FBI, whether it's the DIA, whether it's the NSA, right? Whether it's this congressman or it's that congresswoman, I don't think you would find many Americans who would not, when you show them one by one, you would not, find one that would not agree that, oh, so many of them are criminals and corrupt, right? Corrupt. Well, corruption when you're holding office is a crime, so they are criminal and corrupt people. And those of you who know me, one of the activism I had was exposing these NGOs, 501c3 non-governmental organizations that were set up by people like Soros or Bill Gates to get people trust them, and they do the same criminal stuff, right? Or to put out misinformation, disinformation, and all that. So yeah, I can actually identify with her because that was the position I found myself in Washington, D.C., and I was about her age. I was about 32, 33. Everything that I reached to, the congressional offices, some of the journalists from New York Times, Washington Post, and anything I dig, anything I dug, anything I meet, anything I hear, initially I was so naive, I was so trusting. But as you really go deep and delve deep into these things, oh my God, there is so much corruption. I mean, take, for example, military industrial complex and all these contractors. There are trillions of dollars involved, right? A lot of these contractors are supposed to be through like the bidding process. Are they? Hell no. Is filled with nepotism and cronyism. It's the taxpayer money. They can take your money and my money and all our hardworking tax money and give it to some of these people that are giving the worst prices. Most of them are corrupt. And remember the Pentagon, the inspection for DOD, that they are putting that little tiny little pipe for the plumbing when it's done through contractor costs like $1,100, where you can buy it from whatever Lowe's or Home Depot for $8. That thing has been going on for so long, it has become like the norm. Is that criminal? Yes. It's fraud, it's abuse, right? NGOs, government agencies, foreign lobbies. So yeah, it's not because someone is paranoid, because that's how it is, people. And I remember I was being attacked, especially when, as I exposed them, the ones I was exposing were attacking me, right? Some organization that is posing as, oh, we are here to protect the government whistleblowers, and they're out there effing the government whistleblowers, digging their grave and making it really, really deep. So I blew the whistle on FBI and those particular stuff that were related to 9/11 and heroin and the deep state Operation Gladio stuff. Then there I was saying, look at that. They are getting $1.5 million from George Soros. And they asked me to not include government whistleblowers who had blown the whistle during Clinton administration. That's corrupt. That's wrong, right? They are not supposed to be partisan. So what happens is you get labeled and they're like, oh, there you go. She's now blowing the whistle on these NGOs and these good named NGOs, Government Accountability Project, Project on Government Oversight. They're all motherfuckers, every single one of them. So what I'm trying to say is, when you delve and you tread in those areas, I'm not talking about if you're working with the soup houses, you're out there living in some small town. This We are talking about subjects and topics and areas that involve intelligence operatives, government, right? Lobby interests, some of these corrupt contractors. When you are in that world, like it's almost Washington, D.C. world, like the lobby world and Israel and all the stuff, everything you look at is indeed extremely corrupt and criminal. So if you are genuine and you want to point out to those stuff, you will be a hypocrite to cover up some and say, oh, you are good, pet you, and then single out one or two and go after them. That is hypocrisy, right? So this woman, she is, wherever she's seeing, and she's seeing a lot of it because they are there, she's not imagining it, right? She's not imagining these things. They are there, and she's pointing and saying, you, and then that one, and that one. Well, yeah, they want to paint her as crazy, but that's how it is. I can raise my right hand. I can say it under oath that is absolutely true. And it's bewildering. I'm sure she's bewildered because I think she's still new at this. She hasn't been in it for a long time. But that is the case. So what did they do? They painted, oh my God, boop, 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 boop. Look at her. She's like blowing the whistle on this, blowing the whistle on that. Well, yeah. Thank God she has maybe so many followers, because the media is not doing it. The government is not doing it. The inspector generals for these government agencies are not doing it. The police departments are not doing it. Well, who's doing it, really? Nobody's really doing investigative work. And nobody's exposing anybody, really. I'm not talking about those talking heads that just bullshit stuff. I'm not talking about partisan stuff. All right, let's talk about hypocrisy. The other things I noted, that is for me is extremely important, right? Because I respect religion. I got married in a Presbyterian church. My husband and I went, and this was not one of those showy, the corrupt, despicable, foul-smelling religious organization or churches. This was the real deal, like a humble church that operates as a church is supposed to operate. Anyhow, they always say Candace Owens, she's a right-wing, fanatic, religious, and that person. What I really appreciated is this woman is so courageous. She actually during a couple of her videos thing, as she was talking about all the bad actors, and she was getting passionate about it. And you can't get passionate because it's how could you not get passionate unless you're not human? Maybe you're an artificial intelligence, then maybe. Okay, she started blurting out and saying, and I see this stuff, the corruption, especially in the financial corruption among some of these mega churches and religious NGOs. And she started even naming some, like, what's the guy's name? That charlatan, snake oil salesman motherfucker, Joel Austin, right? Criminal. I mean, Antichrist, right? I call all these ministers, priests who do that, they are Antichrist, right? And she's one by one talking about and naming some of them that actually are, okay? And they're actually criminal documents, evidence about them, right? There are investigations on some of those. Sometimes, most of the times these investigations don't go anywhere. So you can't paint someone like that, a fanatic Christian who is so like all about these hallelujah Christianity and this, and she wants to pander to that side. She's not pandering. I bet you every time she's like saying, yeah, that criminal church or that criminal priest, which is, in my opinion, they're antichrist. They're not real ministers and priests. We were talking about the pseudos, right? They are pseudos. Every time she's doing that, I bet you there's like 10,000 followers dropping, saying, "But we hallelujah with that guy. You can't badmouth that guy. He's a good guy. He's a Christian. Let's go after the blue people and green people and purple people and some goddamn fucking foreigners. Let's do those kinds of things." You are telling us, Candace, now about some of our churches that are corrupt. F you. That's what they are saying. Guess what? Someone who wants to get her number to 25, 30 million and be very popular, they would watch out because they know that they have to be diplomatic. They're like, hey, I can't go like Don Quixote, Cervantes Don Quixote with my, bent sword, and man, our sword is banned after this. And I'm telling you, these churches are motherfuckers and those are motherfuckers and all of that. And they are motherfuckers, right? And she's not worrying for a second about that's going to cost me 1 million followers. That's going to cost me this many people who would have donated me otherwise. She is pissing off everybody because everybody that is within that circle, I'm not talking about human beings, I'm talking about these entities, these organizations, these cells, whether operating under the guise of religion, whether they are operating under the guise of government, right? The FBI, they're criminals. And when you end up doing that, who are you going to get really support from, right? She's not pandering to the fanatic religious groups. And she's not, really. And she's exposing them right and left, right? It's bewildering and it's tiring. I mean, I get sometimes exhausted trying to follow some of those things, but hypocrisy is not there. I mean, I don't know how many people I have been able to say this about people. This is like rarity. Not a hypocrite. Not a hypocrite. Mm-mm. I told you I have watched 23 videos. I have gone through all these, like some of the podcast interviews and all that. I didn't find hypocrisy. Now, there are some of you here who hate this woman. There are some of you here who don't agree with any of the stuff. I don't care about those stuff. I'm doing the things about genuine or fake. Is it real or if it's fake? Is it one of the deep state control the stuff for a particular agenda or not? I'm telling you, I went in there with my claws sharpened, right? I had my microscopes and magnifiers and everything. And I was away for 5 years. This woman didn't exist in my realm of living life. I never heard of her until like 6, 7 months ago. And I'm like looking and saying, my God, 7 million followers. And then I see these people's label at her that extreme, like right and all stuff. She's not. I don't see any of those stuff. And she is, and she is in a good way. She has a thin skin. She sees it. She's blowing her whistle. I mean, you are looking at a whistleblower. She's a whistleblower. Um, I wouldn't call her like, oh, she's like a trained journalist. I mean, there's some work she's doing that is within the criteria or the area of journalism. She's a talking person, right? Uh, but she's a whistleblower. Okay, she is a whistleblower, and she is not a hypocrite. And I didn't find a single piece of shit. I looked. I didn't find any dust speck either. Oh my God, I looked. I looked. I was gonna say my daughter is my witness, but I don't know. She's out there in the other room. Now we're gonna talk about algorithm and this woman, Candace Owen. Okay, and the algorithm. This is very interesting because we're gonna compare it to some other algorithm because I have found a way. I have caught some people with their pants and their microscopic penis with their pants down and their microscopic penis out. Okay, algorithm test. Right. Now, I wanna tell you about first Candace Owens numbers. You're gonna say what numbers? I'm not talking about dollar numbers. I'm talking about Candace Owens followers, right? On 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 social media platforms, and I include podcasts, the podcast production, whatever outlets out as that, right? I want you to listen very carefully. Are we listening? And please know that I haven't forgotten about you and your questions. Soon I'm gonna cut everything when I'm done with this part. Take a break and look at your questions and any questions, even personal questions. I'm here to answer your questions, people. And so meanwhile, just know that I haven't forgotten. Don't say that, hey, she's inviting us live. She's not answering questions. Don't ask me questions that require 1 hour. Okay, Operation Gladio about Chechnya. Blah, 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 blah. Tell me this. Well, that will be half an hour. Talk about yes and no, or if you want to throw anything personal, anything, whatever, throw. All right, let's do the sniff test for Miss Candace Owen algorithm. Let's look at her platform. Elon Musk, Twitter, X, 7.4 million. Okay? Are you with me? 7.4 million followers. Now, move from there and let's go to Facebook, the other bastard. Zuckerberg, 7.3 million followers. This is Candace Owen. So she has 7.4 million on X, 7.3 million on Facebook. Okay? Instagram, 6.5 million. Yeah, 6.5 million. You're looking at the range here. YouTube, okay, the YouTube channel where we are here today, she has 5.7 million, right? Global podcast ranking by download and views, it says #1 in the world, okay? So now, anyone, including me, looking at these, it says there is consistency here, meaning they are all corresponding perfectly fine between her X and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, right? And within the podcast, they are all within the range of like difference of 500,000, 1 million. All right. Are you with me, people? Okay. Now, I want to compare this to a true bastard, okay? Let's call him Lumberjack, right? Despicable criminal. And I say criminal because his background includes a lot of that, right? Now, I want you to listen to me on this. Lumberjack, Twitter, X, how many million people? 17 million. Can we note that? 17 million. Lumberjack YouTube, 5 million. Okay, 5 million. 17 million X, 5 million YouTube. Lumberjack, who's 17 million on X. Facebook, barely 3 million. 17 million, Elon Musk. 5 million, YouTube, Google. 3 million, Zuckerberg, Facebook. Instagram, 5 million. Look at the difference. 17 plus million to the other one, average of them 3.5, 4 million. Not on any top 10 list for global whatever podcast and stuff. Now I want you to think. Do you see anything wrong here, people, that is not consistent? Hello, are we awake? Do you see what I see? Because that was part of my test, and I've been watching, and I've been looking, right? The mother effer are going to go change these things. Please go and take screenshots, right? I want to expose something else. This is not on Owen. This is on my investigative journalist that I used to be, because I had to do it. I had to call people, right? Elon Musk, the things got so bad about the stuff he was giving and doing and concocting with this lumberjack motherfucker, right? Elon Musk said, had to come out after a lot of people coming trying to expose that there are a lot of satanic deals going on between these two, lumberjack and Elon Musk. So Elon Musk actually had to have a press conference and had to go and make a public statement. And this is what Elon Musk said. Elon Musk said about lumberjack, I can say with 100% certainty that my company X does not have any types of contract in place with motherfucker lumberjack, right? The criminal, despicable, phony motherfucker. That, right? He didn't put those stuff, but he wouldn't have had it if that guy was not a mother effer, because this is Elon Musk. And then a contact of mine, a source of mine said, this is exactly what you're supposed to do when you're lying, to be legally on the sound ground, meaning politically legally, meaning what? Saying, I don't have a contractual agreement under my company, Twitter X, with this person. Elon Musk has hundreds of companies. So technically, Elon Musk is telling the truth, but because he's lying, but he wants to make sure that is a legal lie, because lying is called for, okay? Because lying is called for, people. Okay, that raises my temperature. Do you understand when I say I also put it through the algorithm God's test? Because, and then we talked about deep states. Are there some hierarchies? Are they always in agreement, right? Elon Musk, his bastard child is a bastard, right? The lumberjack, 17 million. That number, people, is fucking fake. That number, it is rigged, okay? All the other ones, they ring true. I mean, they are still big numbers. I mean, don't take me wrong, right? 3 million, 5 million, 4.8 million. These are not small numbers, but 17 million people, it's fake. It's rigged, and it should tell you whose bastard child is that particular talking head. You know what I'm saying? Now, we did it with Owens. It's so consistent. It is very consistent. 7.4, 7.3, 6.6, 5.8 million, number one in that. And that is for the algorithm. Okay, verdict, obviously by now, you all know my verdict, right? Verdict is, she's genuine. She is genuine. Candace Owens is genuine, and she is real. She is not doing this. She's not putting on a show and being someone she's not. And she doesn't seem in any way, and I really investigated, she's not anybody's bastard child, unlike lumberjack. Lumberjack, like from family, the father, grandfather, wife's father, pedophiles, criminals, architects of 9/11. I have found so much on that mother. I mean, I can't even begin. But this woman would be on the opposite thing, right? She's on the opposite part of the scale, and she's clean. She's clean. There's not even a speck of dust. okay, anywhere on her record whatsoever. And her numbers are not algorithm gods arranging it. Probably is higher than that. I would say if there is somebody arranging it, considering that she has the number one spot globally on podcast. I suspect her numbers are even higher than what we see there, because it rings true. Okay, it rings true. Hypocrisy none. uh, Changing tunes and stories, or wild claims with certainties. I didn't see any of those stuff. She puts disclaimer, and I mean, she's consistent. She's like, look, I'm not saying these doctors fudged it with the autopsy. What I'm telling you, there is this and this and this. It seems a bit fishy. It smells fishy. You know, if it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck. Let's examine and see if it's a duck, right? That's what she's saying. She never goes and says, bah, here's my verdict. It's totally, this is criminal. And they did it. She's not doing any of this stuff. They want people who are not paying attention and keeping track to think that way. And no, she's not crazy. Actually, she's highly intelligent. She's very intelligent. And probably she's like me. She's hypersensory. I see that. I kind of recognize that in her. And she has good gut feeling. Now, do I have any criticism for her? No. If you were to ask me, do you have any advice for her? I would say a couple of advice for her. I would have it. And again, as someone who has found nothing wrong with her, nothing, she's real. And actually, I like her. Now I like her. After finishing my homework, by this stage, I usually go like, that would be my state of state of being. That usually happens because you dig, that more shit comes out, the more sewage, and the sewage line bursts, and you're like, the stench. So I I didn't have any of that, so it was pleasant. It ended up not being such a gross investigative task to go and say, I'm gonna go and do this with Candace Owen. My advice one would be, and I know why she's doing it. Lately, she's been. It's such a lonely place where she is. It's such a lonely place. I've been there, been there. I know exactly how it is. When you take on the world, like you have like dozens of culprits you're pointing at, right? And you're in that position. It's such a lonely place to be. And you can't find other really comrades who are standing with you, and they are seeing the same things, and they are acknowledging they see, but they wouldn't acknowledge because one of their hands is in shit, one of their hands is in a gold bag. It won't happen. So because of that, lately, to feel that, okay, I'm not the only one. Look, there is this lumberjack, and he's and trying to equate lumberjack with herself, which lumberjack is like not even a dirt beneath this woman's feet, right? She doesn't know, maybe she doesn't realize, because of the gods of algorithm and everything, perhaps. It's that my advice would be this. In the end, in the world I was, with the Supreme Court and Congress and the NGOs and under attack and everything, the ones you think you know and you trust are the ones with the largest, biggest, most effective power to hurt you and backstab you, to F you behind your back, right? So I would say, watch out for the ones that appear most, at this point, you think trustworthy, thinking, oh, I can trust this person. That would be one advice, not that she's seeking my advice, that I would give her. The other thing would be with her, and again, this is not exactly an advice. I wanted to explain something because the latest thing is, I know people are saying hysteria, she wants to do publicity. Candace Owen has received from somebody who claims to be that insider, inside government insider in France, sending some letter, email, whatever, however this person sent it, saying there is a plan to assassinate you by the French government. Because she did this thing with, who's the guy? Macron and his wife, Bridget. Bridget has penis, Bridget has vagina. I really haven't that much paid attention to that, because after all the left stuff with the vagina and penis stuff, I can't stomach it. I just, Ah, it's a he, it's a she, it's a it, it's a donkey, it's a grape. I can't do that. But what I'm trying to say, let's not get distracted. Let's not get distracted. What I'm trying to say here is this. So she's putting it out there, okay? And she's saying, people, look, I'm receiving threats from this person who appears to be legitimate, the note saying they're trying to assassinate me like they did, people did Charlie Kirk, right? Now, is it possible that there are people who would want to see this woman killed, assassinated? I'm sure. From multiple sides, not only one government. I mean, including starting first with our own government. There is Israel, and I mean, I don't, as I said, I'm not like, I don't have advanced knowledge of all the French connections and all the stuff. Yeah, deep state. Deep state is global, by the way. Deep state, deep state is not only an American thing or an Israel thing. Deep state is as much Turkey. Deep state is as much Saudi Arabia. Deep state is as much, especially the United Kingdom. So, are there elements within deep state who would love to see this woman dead? I am sure there are. Look at her following, right? And she's not beholden to anyone, right? She's out there, Don Quixote, Cervantes, with her bent sword, blowing the whistle, and she's not being fed and financed by anyone, right? So I'm sure there are. But there is one other way they can try to undermine her, right? Try to take away her credibility or whatever, and that is to send this, right, with a plan. This, because somebody who wants to kill you, you won't have any notice or warning or tips. I can guarantee you that, people. I can guarantee you that from NATO style operation, from CIA style operation, no warning, right? And there is like shooting, if they want to make it really public, theatrical, most of the times, they can have you order whatever. I get my magnesium drinks through Amazon, right? They can, without bursting, having any leaks, they can have this tainted with a type of a disease that you will catch that disease and die, virus, right? Even something that would do neurological harm. And I will be like, going around like this without ever being traced in any kind of, because let's say, first of all, you're not dead, you have this disease because it's an actual disease. And they would say that the origin of this disease is unknown, right? That is a piece of cake. They can do that. So you can't be out in the public and talk like that. So it's not always shooting. They have hundreds of different ways that quietly can get you either paralyzed, have a stroke, die. They don't have to always blow up your car or have the entire airplane. It is like more like a movie scenario kind of thing, makes for a more of an interesting movie. Oh no, they have some really simple, easy to execute, and impossible to detect way to get you out. So if they want to do that, they will do that. No fucking bodyguard is going to help me or help you or anybody. It's like the end of it. I went through that. I was in DC, 2004. Thank God it was my husband who opened the door. We got a package, right? This is during my whistleblowing, and the attorney general gagged me and all the stuff. There is a box, and inside of it, there is a dead rat, two eyes out, and all his, like, what do you call it, the claws have been removed. And he didn't let me see it. He's like, we got to notify the FBI, right? And my first thing is like, are you kidding me? I said, I'm the FBI whistleblower. You're telling me we have to, it's like, yeah, that FBI is going to so help me. He's like, well, I'm going to call at least Alexandria. Back then, we were in Alexandria, Virginia, part of Washington, D.C. He's like, well, okay, then I'm notifying the, and we did. We filed a report. You know what? I was not like afraid, like saying, oh, they're going to kill me. I was afraid to go and make it publicized and say, I got this, which just says, we're going to do this to you, take your two eyeballs out. I don't know, Robert. I don't know if he knew you back then or not. and then these, like, torture, meaning they one by one, yeah, got this rat's nails, claws removed, right? It's a message. But you know what message really is? We want you to be scared. We want you to be beside yourself, constantly looking over your shoulder, right? Is anyone following me? Is anyone following me? Oh my God, I'm going to start my car now. I'm having panic attack because what if I turn the engine on and I have my car? That was the intended thing there. Because if they wanted to take me out, why? Well, somebody would say, well, maybe they do that to say, if you don't quiet down, right? If you don't S the F you, we're going to do this to you. But that's mafia, like the classical, and that mafia is so clean compared to our government mafia and CIA, the deep state mafia, but that is like mafia style. They're like, look, we want to take her out. No, there are different ways they can neutralize you. None of the mainstream media would publish this stuff on the front page. The courts will get shut down. The Supreme Court is told not to hear it. That's why would they even bother, right? So what I'm trying to say is with this, I believe it can be a couple of things. It can be a setup against Candace Owen. They sent this, that's good. She says, okay, I'm making it public because as she knows, so I can't go to FBI. The hackers are the criminal themselves, especially under Baboon Trump's Cash Patel. But the second thing that can be, and that is they can use that and set her up to discredit her big time, big time. And maybe this is a step one of three-step plan, meaning send that thing, have her get worked up, right? She puts it and makes it public, which is fine. She puts that. She starts like digging more. And we tend to, and this is we the human being, that includes me, we tend to act sometimes more irrational than ordinarily we would when there is this thing that, yeah, somebody's trying to kill me because I know I have gone through it. It can be a setup for her to do something to destroy like her reputation, and it just like come out with like really black eye and all the stuff, because to this day they haven't really been able to do that. They have tried and it hasn't worked. The following has gone up. I think this may be a new tactic, and especially with the timing of it, trying to set her up. And that would be my advice for her. Look at it from multiple angles. So that's one. Number two, watch out for the people you think you trust. And watch out for lumberjack. Lumberjack, and I want you to put it down, mark my word, lumberjack would be exactly the kind that would be like backstab. The people that she thinks, oh, they are in my camp. They are not in her camp. She should never, ever equate herself with those people. Like one of the people I did investigate, and I went through the same thing, right? What a big difference is this woman. Again, I don't know this woman. This woman, I would never sit and watch or have anything. And she's not really up in the chain of the puppets that they put out. What's her name? Blonde woman, Megyn Kelly, right? Megyn Kelly is fake, fake, fake. I mean, head to toe, everything fake. He's the kind of woman that everything you look at is fake. But not only that, going through her videos and listening to her, every single time I went through that, I really, and this is no exaggeration, I felt like I wanted to go take shower. She's reeking with so much racism and hate and ugly language. This is a very ugly, ugly person inside. This is a slimy, ugly, despicable person, right? And this woman has a law degree and she's married to a doctor, anesthesiologist, wealthy doctor, right? And her lingo, for example, she's that fake. She had to change her lingo, the words she used, the way, the tone, even her voice with coaching to dumb talk, because they decided after market study that her graphics are the, I'm not here to label anyone. It's like the dumb lower class redneck Americans. So do not use the fancy legal words, Shakespearean language. Talk dumb, right? Because they love it. They were like, hell yeah, right? To induce that and have 3 million or whatever, hers is 500,000, you got to change your tone, the words and vocabulary. Someone who has been a lawyer with a law degree, worked as a lawyer, worked as a, in a major network, married to an anesthesiologist doctor, doesn't talk like that. Lumberjack is like a bigger, he's a criminal slime ball. This woman is a slime ball. So what I'm trying to say is, doing this thing that I did with Candace Owen for this other woman, Megan Kelly, I felt dirty. I felt ugh. I felt ew. I feel ew. Okay, catch my drift. That's how I felt. Ugh. It's these people are they're ugly. They are so. I can't tell you how disgusting some of these people are, and I can't believe there are people who are following and tuning in and listening to that crap that is so racist and hate filled, and it's like it's anti everything. It's anti humanity, right? Okay, so all right. I just wanted to say that, and then take questions from you. I really gave it lumberjack. There was this very important thing I wanted to talk about, but that's gonna put us to, like, I don't know, almost 2 hours mark, and we had a bumpy start. My thing, my screen is, I can't use the real camera. I'm using the front camera, and it's vertical. Everything looks horrible in so many ways. I can't see myself without my glasses, but oh my God. Okie dokie. Let's go through your live chats and questions. I hope it won't freeze here. What is Sibel needs antennas? Well, I don't know what that is. I'm exposed. I don't know the meaning of that word. Okay, as soon as they hit chapter 3, it's just nonstop insanity. What a nightmare. Well, I don't know what chapter 3 is. Okay, I'm gonna pass this conversation. My book, Classified Woman, has been out there. Debbie says, my way back. Okay. Refresh fixed it. Oh, I love it. You people are helping each other because I sometimes get the freezing stuff too. So the refresh button, I just see the X on the top. So thank you, Vanman, offering solution for people with problem. I like community like that, supporting each other, being kind. It's like, yeah, this is that. I hope I won't come across any nasties or attacks. So far, I haven't seen any. They can remove you heart attacks. Yeah, tribalism. Okay, I heard of this lumberjack before, maybe because I'm too old. Sugar pudding, lumberjack. That's our inside joke because I don't know. I did that like a month ago here. I didn't want to get into it with naming names unless I'm gonna do like have all these investigations, have the numbers, show the stuff, prove the things, and all that things. So I said, you know what? I'll call him lumberjack because the guy who used to wear bow tie, right? He's a tiny little guy in terms of his height and everything. Had gone to prep school and comes from a very nasty family. A father who was major scumbag licking player. He was the head of Voice of America, which everybody here would know is the CIA. But more than that, he started a foundation. I have already collected videos that this slime ball, has already scrubbed, but I have it. I downloaded them and went to fancy school, ate daddy's money because CIA really fed this guy, Deep State, the father. His net worth is like in 20-30 million dollars. He was the guy who was getting his allowance from his daddy until he was 25, 30 years old. And after that, he worked for Fox News, right? He had to suck a lot of Fox sticks over there. And he was always down on his knees because I have contacts in Fox News. And he was also sucking Israel's, you know what, too, for so long. Babe, I'm old like you, okay? And who was this again? I'm talking sugar pudding, I guess. So, do you remember they used to have these round tables on Sundays, Fox News, whatever? So, Pat Buchanan was part of that. This is early mid 90s. And Pat Buchanan, back then, it was not popular to talk against or expose Israel lobby and whatnot, Pat Buchanan dared this taboo, and he actually, not as strong as what we see today, came and start showing as a conservative, as a Republican, that he that our country, instead of serving our country's interest, was completely beholden and was serving, Israel's interest. Pat Buchanan did that. One of the top first weasels to attack Pat Buchanan and call him anti-Semites and all sorts of horrible names and have him basically kicked out of Fox was this weasel. This weasel that now comes and says, I woke up one morning, Jesus came and we had hugging, and I woke up and I saw the light. I know I was this and I was that and I was a CIA, crawler, not an agent or an crawler and all that, but I just found Jesus and I changed overnight. And then he had, within a few weeks, 17 million, whatever, on Twitter, which I just showed and I talked that it's not. Not only that, now the father, the more you dig, not only he was the head of Voice of America and this very filthy, filthy foundation, he was also, I found and I screenshot, his donors were the exact people who signed the 9/11 attack New Pearl Harbor, PNAC. Like the guy in my state secrets gallery, when I was gagged, I couldn't talk. Like Douglas Feet was one of the top donors with millions of dollars to this motherfucker's father, okay? It's that bad, the connection. And this mother effer makes this fake 9/11 documentary, which basically is intended to finish all 9/11. There won't be any, because like, look, it's been done. We put it out there. The truth is out there. Here is the documentary and all that stuff. PNAC, this guy is so connected with PNAC, right? Then I found on this guy, now that we are talking, I may as well go ahead and put it out there. What I found is, this is from 7, before he was given by his new sugar daddy. The bastards like that have multiple daddies. Sugar daddy Elon Musk. He was interviewed, and I found the recording and I downloaded. And this guy was talking to the guy who was interviewing him. Yeah, and he has 2 daughters. At the time, he had 2 daughters in boarding school. He shipped his kids to boarding school since they were like 11, 12 years old. And at the time, his girls were like 13, 14 years old. So the radio host said, from what I understand in this Catholic whatever school, the girls, these are 14, these are not high school, 14, 15, 13 years old. They have they experiment sexual stuff, like having lesbian sex because it's the girls only school, blah, blah, blah. And you know what he said? And I, again, downloaded that as well. He's like, well, I'm sure those things happen and all this stuff. And do you think it's bad? Because I personally would love watching those things. And these are 13, 14, 15 years old. Then he's like, of course, not my own daughter, but who wouldn't love watching 13, 14, 15 years old having those kinds of sexual acts, right? And this is the guy who wants to bring us the truth movements on Epstein. This is a guy who loves watching 13, 14, 15 years old having lesbian experimental sex. And his father-in-law, his wife's father, was the director and the principal of the school, private school, very, very rich private school for very, very rich people. They had some major sexual molestation and sexual abuse cases by, teachers and whatnot against these kids, 12, 13, 14 years old. And after all this investigation, it became clear that this was the guy who tried to cover up for years, protecting the abusers, the ones who were, raping and doing things to the girls. Well, that guy is this lumberjack's father-in-law. So whether it's, and then he marries, after getting daddy money, he marries a rich woman and then lives on the rich woman's money as well. I mean, this guy's a scumbag. This guy is so sleazy. He's so disgusting, and he effed our 9/11 movements. I can guarantee you on that. So that was enough explanation on lumberjack. Lumberjack. So yeah, going from all the bow ties, $2,000 Italian shoes, in order to fit in, just like Megyn Kelly, he needs the white trash, all that stuff. He started wearing Italian instead of those, like the scruffy Goodwill bought. His net worth is 30, $40 million. Shoes and the checkered and the lumberjack shirts. And and saying, I live in the cabin. His villa is a $5-7 million villa. It's 2 hours from me here in Florida. It's all fake. It's all illusion. It's smoke and fake. And that guy is deep state stooge. That's what he is. Okay. Okay. So instead of me scrolling, if there is anyone here who has a question or any statement, remark about this session, do it again in case if I missed it, because if I scroll, I see a lot of stuff, but so much of it is conversation among you people. UK has more pound. Okay. Okay. Not interested. Da da da. That may help him say, okay. Well, those things I don't think is like, as I said, I mean, these are again, I'm sorry to say that, but to think that or hiring some bodyguards and stuff is going to save if they want you out, you are out. There is nothing you can do, ever, anything. End of it. So the best solution is this, honestly. I mean, not to be extremely reckless, in my humble opinion, because I went through the whole stage of death threat letters. I'm telling you, not the letter accompanied with a rat, right? A dead rat, eyeless dead rat is, and it's hard to do, to shake it off and say, if they're going to do it, they're going to do it. But whatever life I have remaining on this planet, on this earth, with my family, I want to enjoy it because I don't want to live it in fear and doing those kinds of stuff. Okay. All right. Any question? No questions. I don't see any question. Robert, was there any question that I may have missed? Robert has been with me since 2004, 2005, people. Okay. Well, Ray Brook. Hi, Ray. Finding you everywhere now. You sound great. And look, thank you, Ray. I don't know. Did you come during the middle of this? I'm going to make sure the recorded session goes up as well. I'm so glad you made it and good to have you here. We'll see you and Candace on her show. Um, if Candace wants to do anything, let's say related to deep state Operation Gladio, because one of the things, and maybe you should let her know, Operation Gladio can possibly be linked with Charlie Kirk's assassination. There's so much going on with the Charlie Kirk's thing because this Turning Point USA is a cesspool. It's like a can of worms, and it could easily have been an insider job possibility. Again, I'm saying it could easily have been. You see what I mean when I'm talking about disclaimer? That's different than saying TPUSA murdered him. Nah, it is absolutely right that she is putting those in her potential list, potential culprits, suspect. That's why we call them suspect. Then you eliminate them, right? The process of elimination until you find a culprit. If you find it in the end, that is, as we know, we haven't found it with JFK, because if the culprit is the inside government, that's the only reason you wouldn't find. Because really, are you going to go out of their way classify all the stuff because it was all because of Castro and Cuba? Then everything would be crystal clear out there. Cold War, Soviet Union. Why would they want to classify anything? They would be themselves putting it out, making it the front page stuff. The only time they want to do classification and having all the cover up stuff is when they are the MFers who have committed the assassination. Oh, okay. So I don't know, because of technology, is there like, I know some people may have some bigger screens where they read their stuff as they come up, so they don't have to put their, I'm an old lady putting their reading glasses and, okay. All right. Robert. So, how many of you here are going to, if you haven't already, gonna go, the link is out there, Patreon, and join our community. You love our community. You see, I can see how you're chatting here with my community members. These are our Patreon members, and I'm so proud of being part of this community. So you like chatting about this stuff, you like these types of topics, you want these types of discussions, none of the partisanship, and really, forgive me for being foul-mouthed, because um, I don't know. This is one of the latest things I've been exhibiting, meaning not applying filter. I spent practically all my public life in the past always having filters for those things, kind of uptight. But since all the events and everything, it is like, I don't care. If somebody doesn't like it, they don't like it. And sometimes I really can't find any replacement word. That doesn't mean that you have a shortage of vocabulary or you have malnourished brain necessarily. Sometimes it's like that word, like shit. Just it's just like there's nothing that can replace. Now, if it becomes excessive, I see that. Like some comedians who like every other word is the F and the C word, and then that's nauseating. But yeah, I'm sorry if those of you who are sensitive seeing that I'm occasionally blurting out the F word. Okay, just discovered. Yes, about him. Okay, exercise was AI versus man. Hey, John Amaral, you haven't arrived. I mean, you have arrived late here, but you haven't missed it because the recorded segments will go up. Because this is a long one, it's going to take a while to process. But I would say by midnight or tomorrow morning when you wake up, you'll see it. Candace's father-in-law here to appearance. Okay, that's a valid question. Did I dig really deep on the husbands? To a certain degree, but not that much. He's a very intelligent man. He's very educated. I mean, he's always been known as brilliant. He's coming from a more prestigious, you know how it is in England, that kind of a line and money. But I didn't come across anything that was kind of stinky, the kinds of business or the kinds of association. But did I investigate his father, meaning, yeah, Candace's father-in-law? No, I didn't go that deep from that side. Oh, the other thing I really admired and I liked, like I homeschooled my child, right? She was homeschooled. Now she's in university college, but she has said she has 4 kids. They have a happy marriage, and I'm so happy for her. He is like her best friend that she should trust and do not even name that lumberjack guy. But with 4 kids and everything, she's planning to homeschool. And I admire that. I like that. I really admire that. Uh, Lumberjacks got rid of his kids. They all were sent off far away to from very, very baby age to boarding schools because and then by the time he found Jesus, it was too late. They were already grown up. But the girls hated him so much that even though he had been like Republican, they said, we're going to be Democrats because we don't want to be anything that is within your sphere of operations and lines. And considering how you are, that's not what we want to be. So that's another 2 cents there. What else? Let me bring it closer. Okay. I don't know anything about the military industry connection with the husband. Monty Python's. Oh, Vincent, I know. I have to download that and play it in one of our video. It just goes so well with it. The only thing that doesn't match is like lumberjack is like usually portrayed like bigger, like more muscular, tall, and everything. This little weasel is like a squirrel. He has a big pot belly now. He didn't. He used to. I used to bump into him because we were we were hanging out within the same areas in Washington D.C., Alexandria area, and it's like okay. I'm back on your Patreon. I was with you since 9/11 books. Debbie, I love your Patreon. Oh, you would love that. And you would love our session. Debbie, we have these Sundays, okay? This is like we did 4 Sundays via Patreon, sometimes just audio only, and then maybe one on YouTube so that I can find some of my I'll call them my people, my community members from the past because I was MIA for 5 years. This way, maybe some of them will find me and I find them. But our our conversations, our Sunday lives are just hilarious. Parts of it, and parts of it is grim. It's serious stuff. Come on, we're talking Operation Gladio, how convoluted everything is. You can't tell fake from real and all those stuff. But then, we were talking about Trump, for example. Actually, that was an appropriate move, changing the name from DOD to Department of Defense to Department of War, which is what it's been. It's been our wars of aggression. None of them have been about defense or defending our country. And I was saying, we may as well go further. We refer to Congress, we just say the House. And it's just like so incomplete. And considering how they operate, what they do, the most fitting one would be whorehouse, right? And we started there and we started talking. And one of our community members, Barbara, was like, the whore dogs. And I love our sessions. I put podcasts there too on Operation Gladio. And whenever I'm still covering multiple countries, a lot of things going to start happening after 2026 globally. Even though things have kind of felt a bit quiet, it really is building up, ticking bomb. Turkey economic collapse, Greece economic collapse. In Turkey, that's going to get paired up with some kind of a revolution slash coup style. Things are really, really at the verge of major blow up, ticking bomb. This whole thing with Trump and I want Afghanistan back, I want a background back, all that bullshit, the real reasons behind it. And that's part of the stuff we are covering with the podcast series Operation Glad to Be. A lot of things are going to happen. Germany economically is doing awful. As I said, Greece is global. This is like the calm. It's like a short temporary calm before the storm, major storm. And like how it was, like 2008 crash was not just our crash here. We also caused, it was like a domino effect. It was worldwide. It's coming. I'm not saying for fear mongering. Some people, even though it's alarming, they do it for solely for the being alarmist sake, like to alarm people. Like even though it's true, I'm not. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like everywhere. Everywhere I'm looking, there's like this fear mongering, right? It is. It is. The real estate collapse imminent, which is probably true, right? And then what you were told about the food you're eating was wrong. Now you should eat 1 pound of bacon, 1 pound of steak every single day. Don't eat vegetable, don't eat fruit. You're destroying yourself by eating. It's like fear mongering, anxiety inducing, as if by design, on politics, on food we eat. No wonder everybody's going nuts, everybody's going crazy. It's like we are bombarded with all this alarmist stuff. Real estate is collapsing. Yeah, probably. Our Wall Street doesn't make sense. The stock market is completely loony. It no logical explanation for why it's been performing the way it has been, which is purely speculative, right? There is like nothing economically sound thinking, no matter which economy, school of economy you subscribe to, does not explain because it's lunacy, it's crazy. So, yeah, I understand these are true, but that's why I try to stay away as much as possible from all the social media and all the stuff. It's like constant bombardment with all these things, rarely good, that they're like bad, alarmist, and makes you like, oh, not me, hopefully not on that front. I'm OCD in a different way. You know, it's like they they told us for these mother effers, the scientific community, the pharmaceutical, for 40 years, eggs are so bad for you. Don't eat eggs. It's pure cholesterol. Eggs will make you die. It will destroy your heart. And my father was completely against that. He was a doctor. He was a scientist. He was saying bullshit. And he was saying, this is 40 years ago, 50 years ago, he was saying bullshit. He was saying because the experiments they conducted were on rabbits, and the rabbits are herbivores, and then the results can't be applicable to us, human, because we are carnivores and our digestive system is different. But hey, if Harvard said it, if Yale said it, right, that's it. We had to go with it. And then they came with all this cholesterol medication and all this stuff. Then guess what? Fast forward, they just a few years ago went back on that saying, oh, we were wrong for 40 years. That's what I'm saying. And now eggs so good for you. Now there are people who are jumping on this bandwagon saying to lose weight, eat like 10 eggs a day. It's so good. It's like this extreme mentality, Eh, Anything good, you do overdo it and it's going to be a horrible thing. Then they were the same thing about don't eat red meat. Red meat is going to kill you. Bacon, fat is bad. Stay away from that. Death, war on butter, war on lard, war on bacon, war on steak, right? And then they come and say, oh, we were so wrong for 50 years. It's so good for you. We are changing the food pyramid. Eat. And in fact, if you want to lose weight, eat like, I don't know, 8 pounds of ribeye, eat like 2 pounds of bacon a day. Then they go and do that. It's like, can we just can we just subscribe to moderation and then say, I love bacon once or twice a week. I don't feel any guilt. I just enjoy, and I have for the past 40 years, I enjoy my bacon. Or if it is whatever, oatmeal, or if it's butter, I love butter, organic grass fed butter. Everything like in moderation, but this thing of now that it's good, just go roll in it, bathe in it, people, bathe in it. It's just, it's a crazy world. It's a crazy world. I'm old. I'm old fashioned. I am absolutely not adapting because I don't want to adapt. I don't want to adapt. I don't like it. I don't care for it. So why do I have to adapt? Like, what am I going to miss if I don't adapt? By, oh, you have to watch this stuff. Like, I don't have what is it? The watch, the iWatch thingy, the Mac stuff. What is it? Apple Watch. That becomes another stress inducer. It's like, oh my God. They said you have to take 7,500 steps minimum a day in order to be healthy. Today I just did a 6,948. I feel guilty. I feel guilty that I have to go to the counselor and seek some therapy and then take antidepressant and all the stuff. It's like, make sure it's not 7,200. It's not 8,000. It's not 7,800. It's 7,500. And then they get people go nuts. It's like, yeah, I mean, walking should be part of our regular everyday life because we are such a mobile society. Cars, cars, cars. And I grew up in Europe and I lived in Europe. And that's like, you don't count your goddamn steps. What you do is, in order to get your delicious bread fresh, you have to walk. Because who would want to have? First of all, it's too expensive. You can't find parking spot. You're in the city, just like New York City. You just walk 6 blocks, you get the most delicious bread, and then you get back. And later you go, if you're going to get your nails done, you walk 6 blocks, you come back. Your normal life just includes so much walk. But no, it's like all these things. I need to do it. I need to, yeah, it just drives me nuts. I'm not going to adapt. Sorry for keeping you here long. I'm going to look at the last part here. But me. Debbie, exactly. You're my kind of a woman. It will be a total waste of me. So my daughter actually knows better than that because she shakes her head. She makes fun of me. I am tech challenged. And I'm proud of being tech challenged. I just go to her for, the tiniest little thing. What is this? Can you fix this? Can you fix that? But I'm still surviving in a just fine way, and I'm not getting myself, that's the last thing I can afford doing, getting like overly stimulated. I mean, come on, look at me. I love my coffee too. And with my husband's death and everything, I have the PTSD. The last thing I need to have more sensory overload and these thingies, it's like, take your pick. Last night you didn't. It's like, hello, yeah, I know I don't sleep good. I have insomnia. I don't need you to tell me because I know, you know, get out of my bed kind of a thing to my iWatch. Chat beeps. Okay. Thank you very, very much. Turkey bacon for me, even duck bacon, but I haven't had in years. And I love all of them. I'm food obsessed. I love every kind of food. I love eating, but again, as I said, I eat everything. So I eat immersion. I eat this, I eat that, I eat that. I don't avoid anything. I don't like asparagus. I'm Brussels sprouts. Other than that, everything is in. The apple and doesn't brown. 2 days later, it's still white. Ah, that's good to know. All right, people. Any of you who haven't joined our Patreon, first of all, right now everything that we are doing is free, but you have to just Patreon is good. What's this guy's name, people? Jack Conte. He, the guy who came up and established Patreon, right? So he was a musician. He still is a musician. His wife is a musician. They formed a band years ago, and he's a very successful one. He's a Stanford educated, nice guy from a nice family. Everything I've read about him just seems nice. Okay. I didn't go dig deep and investigate it because I want to know. I'm on Patreon. Currently, that's my home. I live on Patreon as far as all the political stuff and the discussions that we have. So he saw that Kickstarters and all these fundraising communities, they do this one-time deal, blah, blah. And he's like, I want a place where people create community, and then instead of like raising $100, they say, hey, I can do $2 a month, blah, blah, blah. Or if they have everything free, but they establish this ongoing long-term relationship and communication and dialogue and all that kind of stuff. So he did it Patreon, and he first wanted to do it for himself, to use and to connect with his community, people who were interested in his kind of music, the music he creates. He's a songwriter. And then his brother or a technology partner said, hey, we can replicate that and make it for other artists, right? So Patreon was created mainly for artists, musicians, and everything as a community with ability. So people who they can just do monthly subscription. Our community house right now, all my contents are free to everyone as long as they are, members of the site, Patreon, my page. And those people who, because right now we are going through rough time economically, all of us are. And because I was MIA for a long time, since 2001, since April 2001, and it's been just like 5-6 months since I've been coming back. And Debbie, if you didn't see that, it's on the first live in this channel. I explain what happened so that you don't have to go through that. It's so I haven't said, hey people, please support me and everything. Anybody who can afford $2 a month, $5 a month, whatever they can subscribe, and that supports me and the work we are doing there. And those people who can't right now with economic situation and everything, you just become member for free and you have access to everything. um, I truly can say, at the end of my session, because I have been I'm an introverted extrovert. I don't know if it's that's a topic for another time, but I've never been like very social and all those things. And for my public stuff in the past, those of you, Debbie, who've known me from before, it's always been like so kind of formalish and kind of not uptight, but that. But right now, for example, it just I blurted out like at the end of our last Sundays, like I was like, I love you so much and see you soon. It's like I never say I love you so much, it's like publicly. Not that there's anything wrong with that. What I'm trying to say is that just it becomes that. There are people who have my back. They're the people I can reach out to. They can DM me, and I know the names and avatars. Like I have never met other than maybe two of them in person, but it's so good to say, hey, yeah, I know enough about George, and I know enough about Robert or Sue or Barbara Nolan, and just it just feels like a community. Okay, that's all I have to say. It feels like community. With that, I think most of you are from my community. And Debbie, I'm so glad that we are connected again. Please put out the words, because there are so many people from our previous communities who don't know that I am kind of back, that they can find me here and on Patreon. So I'm asking you, please help put the word out, send people our way to Patreon, let them know about this YouTube channel, share this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel, like this video if it's sincere, if you really liked it. And again, thank you for being understanding, tolerating the glitches at the beginning. And this format of this, I will do better. I will do better next time, hopefully. I will try my best. And much love, much respect to all of you, and see you soon. Bye bye.